Okay, well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. So we're talking to Skye, Walter, and Paige Court from Wing Defence. So where are you at the moment?
I'm just at home in Adelaide. I just not long got out of bed.
Oh, what a rock and
It's
roll lifestyle!
about 10:30 a.m. here, so yeah.
Excellent. And where are
I'm
you,
at work.
Skye? You-
I'm at work.
oh, I'm so sorry, so sorry.
How dare you interrupt my working day? No, just joking.
What is work at the moment?
I'm working at Music SA actually.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good place to work.
Now, obviously, with the new EP coming out soon, obviously you're going to make a huge smash in the music world, and working for a living will obviously be behind you. So let's talk a little about the EP that's coming out. So
Yeah.
this is the EP Friends. It's your debut EP, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about it. I have a few words I could use to describe the sound, but where would you go with it? How are we going to describe this music?
Well, it's a little bit pop punk.
Okay.
With that. Couple of the tracks are a little bit different. Maybe Weapons could be a little bit more rock, guitar heavy.
Okay.
And then even our new one, Silence, which hasn't been heard yet, it's also on the EP. I think it's got a little bit of like a country vibe to it, just a little bit, not much, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
There's lots of gang vocals throughout the whole thing, so lots of chances to like dance around your house.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs that are just crying out to be sung at festivals, really, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Now, I'm fascinated by your description of Silence as country. I was almost hearing the Sisters of Mercy in that bass line, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very bassy, that song.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, probably our favourite part of that song is just the bass line and like the start of the song because it just purely begins with the little bass riff. So yeah, it's a fun one for us.
So, who's writing this material? Where are we assigning the songwriting credits?
We all, well, Paige and I both are the songwriters.
Yeah.
Sometimes write a couple of the songs on the track are written with our guitarist Benny.
Okay.
But we rather write them separately or together. Just depends on what the song's about, and yeah.
Oh, fair enough then. I mean, another word that came to mind when I was listening to this stuff is it's terribly 80s. Now, I mean, I'm guessing for you guys that counts as oldies, really, doesn't it? That's possibly
Yeah,
not what
well,
you
no,
grew up with,
well,
like I did.
yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose.
So
80s, that's great. We love that. We haven't heard that one. We mainly get 90s, so.
oh, okay. Well, I lived through both, so you can take my word for it. So what kind of influences am I hearing in there? Who's informing your songwriting?
I think for the most part, like there's a lot of like Australian bands that we look up to and that we take inspiration from, like Press Club, and there's another band called The Greats that have come out of Brisbane, and yeah, so I think like we draw a lot from a lot of like Aussie artists, but as well as that, like we both have quite different tastes. So in music, but then we also love the same bands as well. So yeah, I don't know. Is there any more that you would add in there, Skiz?
I suppose going back to you saying that it's a bit 80s and 90s, we draw some inspiration from bands like what have we got? Killing Heidi, No Doubt, a bit of, what else have we got in there? Spiderbait, yeah. One of our best covers is by Spiderbait.
Okay.
Calypso, we love playing that one. Yeah, so there's heaps of older stuff in there that we draw inspiration from.
No, fair enough. And I look at your press notes here. I'm seeing your engineers have worked with Silverchair, Powderfinger. I mean, that's some like Aussie rock royalty you've got going on there.
Yeah.
So you're in good company.
Yeah, definitely. We work with Wade, who produced the most of the EP, and he's worked with some really great people, and he was just a pleasure to work with and really fun and just really professional. It was great.
Oh, fair enough then. Now you mentioned Benny. This is Benny Tamblyn Morrow, who's your guitarist, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who else are we hearing on this album? I mean, we've mentioned that phenomenal bass line on Silence. Who else are we hearing? I guess it's my way of asking. What are you guys picking up?
In terms of like who's playing
Yes.
on the actual record, so
Yeah.
we've got our bassist Anthony, who is playing the beautiful bass line in Silence,
Right.
and then Miles Sly is our drummer, but he was actually away at the time of us recording this EP, which was a shame because he's an incredible drummer. But we had Max Tuloveski step in his place, and he plays for a lot of different bands around Adelaide. So yeah, he was in there, and obviously Benny was in there playing the guitar, and I was also playing some guitar parts and backing vocals, and obviously Skye's doing the main line. So yeah, there was 5 of us in the studio plus Wade, the producer. So it was a good time.
Fair enough. So obviously that's who's putting this together in the studio. What does a live performance look like? Because I gather you were at least building a decent live following.
Yeah. Live, we just have a lot of fun. So we just kind of go crazy on stage. There's 5 of us. Again, bass player Anthony, Miles is the drummer, Benny's guitarist, Paige is guitarist, and backup vocals, and I'm lead. And we just go nuts and just dance and have a good time and yell and scream and sing our hearts out. And we all get to sing, so it's always a good time when we all do our gang vocals together.
Excellent. Now,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we won't be seeing you over here in New Zealand in the foreseeable future, because basically we won't be seeing anybody in New Zealand for the foreseeable future. What's it looking like over in Australia at the moment?
It's pretty good here. Well, in South Australia, where we are based, it's looking like some live shows are going back to a degree. We've been pretty lucky with our case numbers recently in terms of COVID. So yeah, it's been like really. It's been hard not being able to play live, but it's also been good to be able to like have some time off and reflect. And Skye's a new mum, so like we've been able to really focus on that, which is awesome. But yeah, we definitely want to come over to New Zealand as soon as possible. Hopefully 2021, we can start doing those things again.
Brilliant. And listen, since Paige has mentioned it, Skye, we have to ask about the new mum bit.
Yeah, sure. I have a little 5-month-old.
Oh yeah.
His name's Billy.
His name's Billy.
His name's Billy, and he's very cute, and he loves music. And his favourite thing to do is actually play the piano. So that's very cute.
I was about to ask what instruments he's going to be learning, and you've just told me. Brilliant. So is that your band's future keyboard player boxed off then?
I think he'll be embarrassed to play with his mum. Maybe.
No.
Hopefully not.
Nah, hopefully I'm a cool mum. We'll see how we go.
No, I think you'd love that. So listen, one thing I have to ask you very quickly. The name of the band is Wing Defense.
Yes.
I saw that. I thought I'd check it. I was just trying to decide either obscure Star Wars reference or something from netball. So I'm going to guess netball.
Netball, yeah, definitely netball. We decided I suppose we consider ourselves like wing defenders, because wing defense in netball is always the position that's first to go if you're down a player, and I don't know, I think it gets a bit of a rap, and it's just kind of a bit of a joke and a funny thing between us. So yeah.
Do you play?
I used to play, and Skye used to play. I do not anymore because I hurt my knees way too many times. But funnily enough, I did play wing defense sometimes, but I was more of a goal defender actually. But yeah, I think Skye, you played centre or goal attack.
Yeah, I was a bit of a goal attack, but I always appreciated the wing defence because it was always kind of lingering outside the circle and yelling here if you need when I needed to get that ball out of the circle. So it's always wing defence was always a good friend of mine on court, you know. So
I mean, we could try and flog this analogy in terms of what roles you play in the band, but I'm not sure we'd really get too much out of that.
Nah, it was really just a joke. It was a funny joke, but it's worked out quite well actually.
Fair enough then. So I spoke to a few Aussie and Kiwi acts during the start of the serious lockdown, and people were wondering when on earth they'd ever actually be able to even get back together with bandmates and stuff. How are you guys doing? Are you working together? Are you rehearsing together? How's that working?
Yeah, we've been
do that. Oh, excuse me.
I can see you just slot into each other effortlessly, don't you? Completing each other's sentences.
Great. No, we've been able to do. We actually did a live show recorded for Spark at the Whitmore a couple of weeks ago.
Fantastic.
So that was all recorded and went up live. So that was heaps of fun. So we always love all getting together and just having a laugh and playing a few tunes.
No, that sounds reasonable. Are you? I'm going to sound awfully sort of like fatherly and schoolmasterly here, but are you using the time wisely? Are you getting much songwriting done while you're not playing live?
I think like on and off, like we've been chipping away at songs, and I was able to do a little demo the other week. Skye will often like send through some stuff on a voice memo, and so we're able to like still chip away. Like I said, we're fortunate enough to be able to still, see each other and work together and rehearse and do all those things, which we're really grateful for.
Fair enough. When do you think you might be able to actually get back on stage and do the actual live thing?
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing planned.
Right.
But as I said, like the restrictions have let up here a little bit in Adelaide. So there's actually like some live gigs happening over the weekend, which is really cool to see. So hopefully we'll be playing one of them soon.
Who are you going to go and see at the weekend then?
Our manager actually manages another band called The Wanderers, and they're playing on Friday in Adelaide at a venue called the Gov. I think they've sold out though, so.
Oh come on! Surely your manager can get you in.
I think with the restriction of numbers, she might not be able to, just with the way it is at the moment. Normally, of course, but I think there's the whole they might get fined thing if there's extra people.
Okay, I'll let you off then. That's a good answer here. I'll allow that one. Fair enough. Yeah, and you say you've got no dates yourself lined up yet because things are still up in the air.
Yeah, not as of yet. Yeah, we're really waiting to be able to tour. I know that we really want to do some regional shows and stuff like that. So hopefully, towards it's probably looking more like 2021. We can start to travel to other states, at least within Australia, and hopefully our mates in New Zealand will let the borders open.
Well, yeah, we're taking our time. We're playing it very, very safe over here for
Yeah, you guys handled it very well. It's really great to see.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm not sure whose idea it was to have New Zealand placed in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but it served us, remarkably well. It really has.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to be here. So what do you think will be next? You've got the EP coming out. Obviously, your opportunities for promoting it live are somewhat limited now. So what's next? What's the next 6 months looking like for Wing Defence?
I think we're just going to be writing and working on the next body of work. I would say it's kind of the only thing we can do at the moment and have control over is the creation of music. And so I think yeah, I think we'll just be getting back into writing sessions and recording and doing all those things, and hopefully we'll have another EP or album out in the next 12 months. That'd be ideal.
Yeah.
We're already looking at the next thing.
Well, I'm going to venture into territory here that I hadn't originally thought to ask you about, but I'm going to go there since you've sort of raised the idea in my mind. You talk about EPs and albums,
Yeah.
and I'm going to venture that probably none of your work so far has been released on, let's say, vinyl. Are we still work? Do we still work in the context of EPs and albums, or do you imagine yourself releasing singles when they're ready? How's that going to play out? Do you think? Because I mean, I'm aware that I'm from a different generation from you. You're possibly a couple of years younger than I am, and maybe you're not coming from a time when you had to wait till you had 45 minutes worth of music on two sides of a record to release. How do you see your music being released in the future?
I think like we definitely would love to have vinyls for this EP. I think it just comes down to cost, but obviously most of the songs on this EP we've released as singles, and yeah, you know, with Spotify and all the streaming services, like we're able to just release singles after singles at the moment. So, but I think, you know, it's a great way to make sure everyone hears a lot of the songs instead of just having one single and then releasing a body of work that maybe or maybe not people will fully listen to.
Right.
So yeah, I think that being able to just keep like doing singles and eventually them grow into a larger body of work. But we definitely want to have like more songs up our sleeves in the future before we maybe get to like a vinyl, or I think like it'd be great to have an album printed out on a vinyl.
Yeah.
Cool.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
And are we looking at maybe what, like a concept album? There's like, 2 20-minute tracks on it, or are we sticking with the 3-minute classics?
Well, we're a 3-minute classic type band, but you know, we like to mix it up, so throw a few spanners in the works. So I'm sure we could do a little concept album. maybe a kids album, Paige. There's an idea on Zoom for you.
So this is a great scoop here. That Skye says that Wing Defence's next album is going to be a 45-minute concept album called Billy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Jeez, it's going to have to be interesting.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, where do you see your music heading next? You know, we talked about where you are at the moment, and I'm hearing, like I said, sort of like 1980s indie. There's some Scottish bands who are ploughing that furrow way back when that come to mind. Where do you figure you'll head next? What other directions do you think you'd like to head in?
There's a track on our EP called Weapons that is a little bit different, a bit more ethereal, like I was mentioning before, a bit more rock based. I mean, we don't particularly want to go down that path, but it's nice to create some diversity in our music. So I really like it how that song and Silence is a bit different to our 3-minute pop punk bangers.
Right.
And so, just like delving into different ways of kind of branching and just touching on different genres, I think, and adding little moments of, different genres into our music, but keeping the Wing Defence vibe would be the way that we'd go, I think.
Oh, that sounds good. And I'm just wondering, I think the first song on the EP is Relocate. I'm not sure I've got them in the right order when it was sent to me. But it's one of the hardest songs I've ever found to actually tap along to the rhythm of. There's a drum beat in there that is too tricky for words. How did that come about?
Drum beat. I'm trying to remember how it goes right
now. That's probably a testament to Maxie, who played the drums on the album, on the EP. But I think that just come to be like, I demoed Relocate, and it sounds very different now to what it was when I demoed it. But I think that was just something that was developed over like playing live. A lot of these songs weren't recorded before we played live shows. So we were lucky enough to be able to develop like the sound and the songs playing live before we went and put them down in the studio. But yeah, I think like it's I know that the song tempo starts differently to when the chorus hits in, so it could be that. But yeah, I think it's just like a little bit of Max's drumming skills in there as well.
Fair enough. Well, listen, it sounds like you've got some exciting times coming ahead of you. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it too.
Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
And do stay safe. I hope the music scene comes back in South Australia before it comes back in Victoria, because it sounds like they're a mess down there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Poor guys.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks
No
very
worries.
much.
See ya.
Thanks for having us. Bye.